You know, to be a painter, it's one of those things you are. It wasn't if you want to be, it was just what are you going to do about it? Okay, I'll make some coffee.
Fantastic.
My name is Nina Sofia Klymowska. Now, the thing is, I'm not getting any younger, so I decided to take my paintings, all my paintings, and I rolled them all up. They're all here, like this. And then, come. So these are the only ones that are stretched now. And there are more paintings, as you can see, the ones that survived my edict to be done in. And that's all there is, except for my drawings. Okay, right. When I was 3.5, we left Ukraine and we walked to Germany. At this point, the war is over. We are in Germany near Berlin, in the mountains actually. This little tiny village has maybe 5 houses. There's a little river run through it. They make shoes out of wood. They were very popular in the 50s. I remember the German soldiers were coming back home. And then I remember my father's friend, who was one of those guys, you know, who knows everybody and talks to everybody. And he happened to be in a Jeep, and he said, "Oh, Charow, what are you doing here?" "We're going to go to Berlin." And we got in the Jeep, and we drove to the American zone. And I was there for a couple of months, and then we went to Munich. We were a refugee. That was what we were marked as. And there we lived for about a year. Around 49, we went to Berlin. We stayed there for a little while, and then we went into camps which were preparing you for going out to America. And they were teaching us English. They hung these ropes across the room, and they would go in there and they say, "This is ein dress. This is," and it was like funny, you know. So they were teaching us for about 2 weeks or something like that. They taught us all English, etc. And then I took the boat and came to America. I was 10.5, and I remember that I was very excited. Canal Street used to be quite different. On Saturday and Sunday, it was dead quiet. Everything was closed. You could buy all kinds of things that you needed, and loads of them, all kinds of hardware things, and they closed. And, you know, I mean, it's changed quite a bit. I remember when Soho wasn't Soho yet. I used to live on Canal. Then I used to live in Soho. Now I live in Tribeca. I haven't moved anywhere, but that's where I live. I had a doll that I just loved, and there was no way I was going to travel without my dolly. So my father, well, he squeezed it too much, and the poor dolly was all squeezed. So I remember that I went and took it to the hospital on the boat, and the doctor gave it Band-Aids. You know, it was my dolly. So the boat has these tables, and these tables had like a little thing on the edge so that it wouldn't fall off. And I remember walking in there and seeing these empty tables with oranges, you know, just go floating around, down and up. It was just wonderful. So I was the only one that was eating anything because everybody was ill. Somehow the captain noticed that, and he called me over. And I remember I got from him ice cream, the square ice cream that had vanilla, chocolate, and strawberry. I remember I got that for the first time. I thought, oh, that was special. That was special. So that's how we traveled around for about 10 days, I think, or 11 days, and then came to New York.
Let me adjust the light.
You know, it's a very interesting point of view. You ought to come up here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just
Isn't it?
Yeah.
It's wonderful. When I came to America, we went to Ellis Island. We came in, and I took my dolly with her Band-Aids up to the deck to see America. And it was splendid. It was splendid. Ellis Island allowed people to land there till 1955. I was in 1951. There used to be a place like a drugstore, and they used to sell them for very little money. Now, this particular thing is Johnny's daughter did this when she was 6 years old. She's now 40 and a photographer. Oh yes, these are very favorite. I mean, like, these are Brazilian. He's quite famous, Vilho. I just love it. It's a bride. He's taking his bride home. When we got off at Ellis Island, we took a boat in, and then these friends of my father's met us, and we went to lunch at Veselka. In those days, Veselka was Veselka, but then there was a door to a back room, and there we got, you know, some Ukrainian food. It was delicious, and people gossiped, etc., etc. Oh yes, yes. In the afternoon, they took us to the train station going to Philadelphia. So I was living for about 10 years, went to school, and then I went to the academy. That was nice. I spent 5 years at the academy because the academy was a great place for me to be. I developed all kinds of thoughts. I met people. I painted. I loved the work. I used to go in and be there at 8:30 and leave at 10 o'clock. So that, you know, I just spent the whole day. And I then found myself on 7th Street. I lived there for a while, and then I moved in on 13th Street, and there I lived for a couple of years until we had a fire. That was the end of our stay there. I remember that we were looking for a place for me to paint in, and we decided on this place in October. We had no intention of living here, but we did. So here we are. You know, it's like, let me put it this way. You really are catching me at the end of things. If you are alone in life and you haven't got anyone anymore, all of your friends are in heaven or they're 90, it's difficult to, you know, to put things where one would like to. Anyway, I'm not too sure what I'm doing at the moment. I know that I should not be painting anymore, but I am going to paint. So that's one of those things. You wonder about your health. You wonder what's going to happen. You hope you don't just die, you know, in this place because of all kinds of things. And then you're thinking to yourself, now maybe it would be better if you drop dead at this place or that. I mean, it's like all these things go through your mind, through my mind, let's put it this way. And I don't know what to do with the paintings. So I don't really know. I don't really know. So it's like one of those things. You're catching me. And that's okay. When did I want to be a painter? I knew it all my life. And I think everything that I was doing in life was toward that. Whenever somebody needed something to be painted, Nina was the one who painted it. It wasn't a matter of if you're going to, it was just a very natural thing to do. You know, it was one of those things. I was always going to paint. I was always going to do art. And that's it.
So it's two floors down?
Yeah, it's a floor down.
Great. Hello again.
My God, the team is back.
This was my first bed, which I bought 3 years ago. But I never slept in it. I like the floor.
Thank you so much for watching. Part 3 will be released next week. If you'd like to purchase one of my photography prints or my photography book, you can check out the links in the description.